Sarah didn't stop loving her husband at night. She didn't wake up one morning and decide she was done. It happened slowly, one disappointment at a time, one broken promise at a time, one lonely night at a time. The painful part wasn't that David wanted to hurt her. The painful part was that he didn't even realize he was hurting her. To everyone around them, they looked like the perfect couple. They attended church together. They raised two beautiful children together. They smiled in family photographs. But behind those smiles was a woman carrying years of silent pain, and a husband who had no idea he was slowly losing his wife. It would take one heartbreaking conversation for David to finally understand what had gone wrong. And when he did, he wished he had listened years earlier. It hadn't always been like that. When David and Sarah first got married, they were inseparable. They talked about everything. They laughed together, dreamed together. Whenever David returned from work, Sarah would run to the door before he even knocked. Those days felt like a lifetime ago. Over the years, David became busier. His business expanded. More responsibilities came, more pressure and more stress. He told himself he was doing it all for his family, and in many ways he was. But while he was busy building a better life, he slowly stopped paying attention to the people he was building it for. The first signs were small, too small to notice. Sarah would try to talk. David would say he was tired. Sarah would suggest they spend time together. David would promise to do it another day. Sarah would complain about something that hurt her. David would tell her she was overreacting. Every single time, he thought nothing of it, but every small hurt left a mark. Then came the wedding. A day Sarah would never forget, and a day David barely remembered. It was her cousin's wedding. The event was beautiful. Family members had traveled from different states. Everyone was excited. Sarah looked happier than she had been in months. She spent the evening reconnecting with relatives. David spent most of the night answering business calls. After a while, Sarah approached him. "David, they are taking family photographs. Please come." "Please give me a minute, I'm coming." Sarah waited. A minute turned to 20 minutes. He didn't go. She went back to him, but David said he was busy. "It will only take 2 minutes," she explained. David sighed loudly. "Sarah, must you always disturb me?" Several people nearby heard him. Sarah immediately became quiet and embarrassed. She was so ashamed that she walked away alone. But that wasn't the worst part. Later that night, David got frustrated and decided to leave. Without telling Sarah, without checking where she was, and without thinking twice. When Sarah eventually discovered he had gone home, she felt sick. Her phone battery was dying. The event was ending. Transportation was difficult and family members had left. She was alone. By the time she finally arrived home, she was exhausted, frightened, and heartbroken. David was asleep. The next morning, he acted as though nothing had happened. When Sarah realized he didn't even remember leaving her behind, something inside her changed. quietly and permanently. Years passed. The distance between them grew. David noticed it, but he didn't understand. Sarah became quieter, colder, less affectionate. She stopped complaining, stopped arguing, stopped expecting anything. To David, the peace felt normal. What he didn't realize was that Sarah had simply given up. One evening, after dinner, their daughter asked a simple question. "Daddy, are you coming to my school presentation tomorrow?" David checked his phone. "I'll try." The little girl smiled, faded. Sarah noticed. The next day, David didn't show up. A meeting came up, he explained. But weeks later, he forgot his son's football match. Then, he forgot Sarah's birthday. Then the anniversary. Each time, he apologized. Each time, Sarah smiled and said it was okay, but it wasn't okay. Not anymore. One Sunday after church, David overheard something that shook him. He went back inside to pick up his car keys. As he approached a hallway, he heard Sarah talking to her friend. "I don't hate David." "Then what's the problem?" her friend asked. Sarah was quiet for a moment. Then she said something that stopped David in his track. "The man I married disappeared years ago." David froze. His heart began to race. "What do you mean?" the friend asked. Sarah sighed. "He thinks providing money is enough. He works hard." "I know. So what's wrong?" Sarah's eyes filled with tears. "I miss being seen." Those 4 words hit David harder than anything he had ever heard. I miss being seen. For days, he couldn't stop thinking about it. Then one night, after the children were asleep, he finally asked the question, "Sarah, when did you stop loving me?" Sarah stared at him. A long silence followed. Then she laughed softly. Not because it was funny, but because she couldn't believe he was asking. "You really don't know?" David slowly shook his head. Sarah's eyes filled with tears. "You left me years ago, David." David frowned. "What are you talking about?" Sarah looked at him. "No." Your body stirred. Tears rolled down her face. "But you left." David remained silent. Sarah continued. "You stopped listening. You stopped noticing. You stopped caring about the little things. You stopped choosing us." Every word felt like a knife, because deep down David knew she was telling the truth. Not all of it, but enough of it. For years, he had convinced himself he was being a good husband because he paid the bills. For years, he believed sacrifice only meant financial sacrifice. He never realized that emotional absence could hurt just as much as physical absence. That night, neither of them slept. For the first time in years, they talked honestly, really honestly. Sarah told him about every hurt she had buried. The wedding night, the forgotten birthday, the missed moment, the times she cried alone, the times she felt invisible. David listened. And for the first time in years, he didn't defend himself. He didn't argue. He didn't make excuses. He simply listened and cried. because he finally understood the marriage hadn't broken overnight. It had broken little by little, and he had never noticed. The next morning, David did something he had never done before. He cancelled all his meetings, every single one. Then he knocked on Sarah's door. "Can we go somewhere?" Sarah looked surprised. "Where?" "Anywhere." For the first time in years, they spent an entire day together, talking, walking, remembering, laughing, crying, and healing. It didn't fix everything. Not immediately. Some wounds take time. Some trust takes time. Some love takes time. But it was a beginning, a real beginning. Over the next year, David changed, not perfectly but intentionally. He attended Joshua's football. He attended his daughter's school event. He started putting his phone away during dinner. He began listening more, talking less. He learned to apologize, and Sarah slowly began opening up her heart again. Not because she was forced to, but because she finally felt seen, finally felt heard, and finally felt love. One evening, as they sat together watching the sunset, Sarah rested her head on David's shoulder, something she hadn't done in years. David smiled, a genuine one. Not the fake smile he showed the world, a real one. The kind that comes from peace, the kind that comes from understanding, the kind that comes from finally facing the truth. Sarah looked at him. "You know something." "What?" "You look happier." David laughed softly. "I am." Sarah squeezed his arm, and for the first time in years, neither of them was pretending. Many marriages do not fail because of one big mistake. They fail because of many mistakes. They fail because of many small wounds that are ignored for too long. Providing money is important, but love is more than paying bills. People need attention, appreciation, and they need to feel seen. Never assume your loved ones know how much you care. Show them. Listen when they speak. Value the little moments, because sometimes the pain that destroys a relationship isn't caused by what you did. It's caused by what you failed to notice. And for the first time, you finally see it. It may already be too late. Fortunately for David and Sarah, they found their way back to each other. But not everyone gets that chance. Thank you for watching this story. Please like, comment, and subscribe.